Shalom Bracha from Yerushalayim. We are discussing the Nishmat prayers Shabbat morning in the synagogue. And we were talking about the liturgical customs and the pieces that the Hazanim sing in unison with the Kahal. I just wanted to point out that it was brought to my attention from Mr. Ezra Ashkenazi, Yizacher Batov, told me that he heard on a number of occasions from our great Hazan, Isaac Kabaso, Hashem Yishmerehu, that all of the songs were sung, the tunes were hopefully tunes that the Kahal knew and sung together. However, the Nishmat, the rule was the Nishmat belongs to the Hazan. So if the Hazan chooses to do a tune that he innovated or something which only he would know, he has the permission. The Hazan, they say the Nishmat belongs to the Hazan. It's not the custom in Israel at Ades, but I think it was important to bring that out and thank Mr. Ezra Ashkenazi for his comment. I mentioned in my last video I wanted to do a quick review of the Sefer, this famous Sefer Pizmonim, which we are so proud of in our community, published by the Sephardic Heritage Foundation. Alam Shalom at the time, Mr. Sam Cannon organized the effort, called Shir, Ushbaha, Hallel, veZimra. I wanted to speak a few minutes about this Sefer. So, it seems like a pretty lengthy title for a book, Shir, Ushbaha, Hallel, veZimra. But in essence, the reason for this is that this is really a combination of two Sefarim of Pizmonim, of songs which were written by our Hachamim. Shir Ushbaha was written by Hacham Rafael Antebi Tabush Ades, one of the great poets and Hazanim, who had many students. One of his students, of course, being our great Hazan that we had the merit to have in our community, serving in the Magen David for 28 years, Hacham Mosseri Ash'ar, a Kohen. So, Hacham Tabush wrote Shir Ushbaha. Hacham Mosseri Ash'ar wrote Hallel veZimra when he was in New York. This is an original 1928 printing of the Hallel veZimra. If you look to your great-grandparents' homes and your grandparents' homes, I'm sure you will find a copy of this Sefer. And it's interesting, I've seen many copies at homes, and there's always at the end handwritten notes of Pizmonim which were added, and the owner of the book would write them handwritten. This actual book was from Hacham Moshe, was from Moshe Dweck, which is my father-in-law's grandfather, the father of Abraham Dweck. So he has all of his notes in the back of the book. So what they did when they printed the book is they combined the book of Hacham Tabush, Shir Ushbaha, with the book of Hacham Mosseri Ash'ar, Hallel veZimra, making it Shir Ushbaha, Hallel veZimra. And if you notice, we'll talk at length on another occasion, but if we start with where the makamat are, in other words, skipping the bakashot in the beginning and the Motzei Shabbat and the Pidihot, we start with, let's say, makam rast on page 107. So if you'll notice, it's written here that these songs were from the book of Shir Ushbaha, Hacham Tabush. Now, if we go to we continue in the scale of Rust, if we go to page 125, you'll see now, from now on, these are the songs written by Hacham Mosseri Ash'ar HaKohen from the book Hallel veZimra. So this is actually a combination of both books. Now, in later years, as they kept printing more editions, and because more songs were written by Hazanim in our community, Hacham Rafael Nadav, Alav Shalom, wrote a number of songs. Balat Ushbi, Hazan Albert Saban, Mr. Louis Masri wrote a song. We have many contributions, and they were added into the Sefer, but always added at the end of the section of the scale that the song was written in, and always with the page numbers A, B, C, in order not to change the original page numbers of the songs, because that's how we quickly, when we were growing up, and we were taught by Mickey. So it was very important to remember the page numbers, so in order not to confuse and not to change those numbers, so they put them all at the end of each section. Now, what I wanted to bring to your attention was page 565, which is important for our discussion. It's a list of every parasha with the scale of music which is sung during that parasha. Bereshit Ras, Noach Siga, Lech Lecha Saba, and so on. Now, this list is generally accepted by all the Syrian communities all over the world, but it's not set in stone. There may be differences in 2 or 3 parshiyot between Israel, Argentina, and New York, but the main I would say, well over 90% are identical. Now, if you look at pages 567 and 568, A, B, and C, you will have suggestions of which Pizmonim to use for the tunes that we sing in unison. So you'll have, let's say, you have a list: Nishmat, Shav'at, El Hodaot, Kaddish, you have Rast, Mahur, Ajam, and then you'll be able to Hazan. Now, will be able to look, and a lot of Hazanim, they put the book in front of them when they're praying, so if they have, the tune that they planned on the Slups Ne'mai, they quickly check. That's why it's important to teach our children the Pizmonim, so they're able to follow and be part of the prayers on Shabbat morning. Again, this deserves a lot more time, and hopefully we'll get to it in later videos. Kol Tuv.